I want to introduce our guest speakers. We have two, believe it or not, Eileen and Kathleen Bassiacos. Hey, I asked her how to pronounce it, like Vandervalk. It's a tough name, and Eileen Painter. Um, Kathleen's going to talk about being a nurse since her age of 11, and that was like about 10 years ago. Okay, give or take. And now has over 3 decades of nursing experience in oncology, geriatrics, assisted living, and home care. Now at Unicity Healthcare, she keeps her patients' health at the forefront, focusing on crisis management mixed with adaptability. Her patients are the elderly, who are the most at risk for being negatively affected by the COVID-19 pandemic. Her presentation will include not only nursing, but also treating the myths surrounding agents and nutrition. So here she is. By the way, both of their business cards are back there. They now work for Unicity Healthcare, and there's some free books that you can have or scribble if you want to, and pens, and great looking pens. All right, Kathy and Eileen, it's all yours.
You're going to put it on? Yeah. Good morning, everyone. As he said, my name is Kathleen Bassiacos, and this is Eileen Painter. We are both registered nurses. Eileen is actually an advanced practice nurse. I have almost 40 years of nursing under my belt. She's younger than me, so by a couple of years. Unicity is a unique entity. We are privately owned. We're not like a Bayada or Right at Home that has many franchises. We are owned by one person. And the other unique quality that we have is we are a dual company. So we have home care, which is people that can assist you with activities of daily living, cooking, driving you places, doing your laundry, taking you to the grocery store. They're called home health aides. That's one side of our company. Our owner saw a vision that maybe we needed what was called geriatric care management. So about 7 years ago, he opened a separate division, which is geriatric care managers. We are nurses and social workers. And what we do is help people navigate this complex health system. So we always like to get people healthy in their house, just planning. Do they need grab bars? Do they need certain doctors? Do they need elder care attorneys for long-term planning and protecting assets? I have to say, most of our time, we usually get people that are in crisis. They call from the hospital, you know, my loved one's in the hospital. They handed me a list of places to go for subacute. I don't know anything about any of them. And we help navigate that. We'll go to the care management meetings. We'll go to the hospital. Afterwards, we'll help you get to the right place. Is it going to a CCRC like Lantern Hill down the street? Is it going to an assisted living? Is it going back home? We're particularly useful in helping people manage their medications. We'll come fill pill boxes. We'll take you to doctor's appointments, you know, and go into the room if you choose for us to do that. And
hi. So I have a really hard time standing still. So this is going to be difficult for me. I do my best talking while I'm walking. Can you guys see me? Let's see, I'm actually going to move this a little bit.
You got to stand so that people could see you.
I gotcha. Thanks so much.
Here's the camera.
Thank you. Good morning. Wait, hold on one second. My name's Eileen Painter. I am so glad to be here with all of you this morning. So today's discussion, myths, healthy nutrition. So the first question I'm going to ask, and I'm going to walk a little bit, trying really hard to stay in front of that camera. What I wanted to say is health and healthy nutrition is a continuum. I don't want anyone to think that one day you walk and fall immediately into health and you stay in health. Wouldn't that be a wonderful thing? That's not how it is. Regardless of how well you focus on health and how engaged you are in your own health, you move back and forth along a healthy continuum. The goal is to continue to move forward. In those moments when you take a few steps backward, regroup, think about what you're doing, rethink about what your goals are, engage your health team, speak with your physician, speak with your nurse practitioner, speak with your physician's assistant. Some of you may work with a nutritionist, which is fantastic. Some of you may go to the gym. Is anybody in here still a gym goer? Fantastic. Okay, you gym goers, you guys are already paying membership fees. Take advantage of what they have at the gym. They have nutritionists at the gym. They have personal trainers at the gym. So your health is a continuum. That's the thing that's most important for me to say. The other thing that I want you to say is you guys are all active consumers in your health every day. I don't want you to think that you're going to sit back and health is going to come automatically to you. Unfortunately, it isn't. You need to be an active, participating consumer. So that's it. That's where we're going to start. Hit it, Kathy. So this first slide is going to have 1,000 different words on it in 1 second. Obviously, I can't see them from here, so there's no way you're going to be able to see them from back there, which makes me happy because I don't want you to get wrapped up in the words that are on the screen. I would love to have more of a dialogue. I'm going to ask Kathy some questions. I know that we're supposed to have questions at the end of the discussion. Please feel free to raise your hand. I love engaging with my team and my participants and the folks that are outside in the masses, so please let me know what you're asking. As Kathy had mentioned, I've been a nurse for many, many, many years, and I have handled clients across the continuum. My original training was actually in pediatrics and pediatric intensive care, maternal and child health. And as I aged with my client group. I moved into healthy adults, and now I'm doing geriatrics. So I've had experiences all the way through. For about 5 to 10 years right in the middle, I worked at the YMCA as a health and wellness professional. So nutrition is near and dear to my heart. So if there's a question that pops into your head, don't feel like you have to wait to the end. If you think it's going to contribute to what we're discussing, please give it an ask. Okay, Kath.
Okay,
First one.
okay.
Okay.
Nutritional needs don't change as we get old.
Oh, that's okay. A popular belief, that's okay. I'm just going to read it for. Okay, so here we go. These are some common myths. So we're just going to go straight to the next slide because each one of these myths is going to be covered in a specific slide. There you go. Myth number 1, nutritional needs don't change as we get older. The thing that's most important that I think everybody realizes, being healthy is expensive. Being healthy is time consuming. Truly. If you walked into a store right now and you wanted to buy a 2-liter bottle of soda, it would be $1.38. If you wanted to buy a half gallon of a quality milk, it'd be $4.39. And it's just that simple. And it's time consuming. It's not easy to walk up and down the lanes of the store. It's crowded. We just got over the COVID scare. People are still worried about being in public. But when you become engaged in the shopping that you're doing or that somebody is doing for you, it becomes more meaningful and your outcomes are better. Moderation. This is the big one. I am never going to tell anyone that they can't, they shouldn't, or they will never eat something again. For example, I am a fast food lover. I love fast food. I would eat it every day. I can't. As healthy as I look, I struggle with high cholesterol and I struggle with high blood pressure. I'm very healthy. I eat right, I exercise, I'm active, but my parents were kind enough to give me genetic traits that make it difficult for me to keep my cholesterol low and my blood pressure low. I need to be careful. I need to be cautious. Do I still love fast food? I do. Do I eat it every day? I don't. But once every 2 or 3 weeks, I'll get some fast food. And when I do, I sit down and I enjoy it. And that's what I wanted to say to you. Moderation is important, but when you do deviate from the healthy side of your nutrition, enjoy it. Don't be eating your fast food hamburger while you're driving down the street late for an appointment. While you're eating your fast food hamburger, sit yourself down. Enjoy every delicious, high-fat, high-sodium moment, and then move on to the next thing. The same thing with sugars and sweets. We used to say all the time that temptation is ugly, scary, horrible. Wrong. Temptation is beautiful. It's the donut with the pink icing and the jimmies. It's the bagel with the layer of cream cheese in the center. It's the fast food hamburger. If you are going to stay healthy, take a moment to indulge in the things that aren't healthy, but really enjoy the moments that you do. Oh, health is a continuum. Okay, I think I hit all that. Kath, next. Okay. Kath, for one sec, would you go back down to myth number 1 there? Okay, now, what you eat. These are the things that before we get moving, must focus on lean proteins. Now, lean proteins are eggs, are chicken, or they're turkey. They're good, healthy proteins. The same thing with moderation. If you enjoy a steak, have a steak. Do you have to have the high-fat porterhouse? No. Think about leaning more toward the loin. Think smart. The same thing with foods like high omega-3s. Yes, you should be participating in salmon. We have one right here. If you think about moving to a high omega-3 olive oil, think about moving to an omega-3 for olive oil. Things like vitamin D and vitamin B12, as we get older, are difficult for our bodies to digest. It's not that our nutritional needs change, it's that our bodies have a hard time digesting them and absorbing them. You will find that you will need higher levels of vitamin D based on how our body absorbs sunshine and how your body absorbs and deals with B12 vitamins. And we'll talk more about that in a second. Eating a variety of foods from each one of these groups avoids things like diabetes, hypertension, elevated cholesterol, and we'll talk about those in additional slides. Okay, Kath. Seniors have a slower metabolism and need fewer nutrients. False. Do we have a slower metabolism? Yes. Do we need fewer nutrients? No. You actually need more nutrients because it's harder for your body to absorb the nutrients. And as far as the metabolism goes, we have a tendency to slow down as we age. You all know that. It's easier to remain sedentary than it is to move. But what you will find is that the more you move, the healthier you will feel. Now, it doesn't mean that I want everybody running 6 miles. If you take small changes along that health continuum, small changes include going from walking 5 minutes around the block to walking 15 minutes around the block. And I tell everyone, exercising and activity are 2 different things. Exercise seems negative. It seems like a penalty. It seems like something we have to pick up every day and carry with us. Think of it more as being active. Being active sounds like something you can accomplish. And if you do it with somebody else, it's easier to accomplish. Find a walking buddy. You have an amazing group of people here. Maybe once a month before each meeting, you guys go for a 1-mile walk. Maybe after a 1-month meeting, you go for a mile walk afterward. You discuss the things that you talked about in the meeting. Moving and being active with friends and other people that you enjoy keeps you staying active, keeps your metabolism up. Here. Okay. Yeah. So, calcium-rich foods. Because you don't need as many calories and you want to avoid being overweight, you need to consider eating nutritionally dense foods. For example, if you're going to eat 1 donut for 320 calories, which is going to give you 320 empty calories, or an omelet with some spinach and maybe some cheese in it, I want you to think about it and think about how you feel after you eat. For example, Kathy and I went across the street to this lovely little diner. What I wanted was a bagel. What I got was an omelet. So I know that there are physicians out there in the audience, so this is all going to be easy for you. But for folks who aren't physicians, what you eat reacts quickly with your body and how you feel afterwards. For example, if you eat 1 donut, your blood sugar level rises quickly, your body responds quickly by releasing insulin, and the sugar falls quickly. So you go from feeling great right after you eat the donut to feeling horrible, and then you want to go to sleep. That's not the ideal thing for you to do in the morning, right? What you want to do in the morning is eat something that has different kinds of proteins, different kinds of carbohydrates. So you can still have a carbohydrate, maybe a piece of wheat toast, but add a protein with it so that your body has energy over a curve instead of a quick rise and a steep fall. Think about it. Think about what you eat and when you eat it. Fruits, vegetables, whole grains. These are things that are difficult. We continue to tell seniors to make sure you're getting enough calcium, right? Drink milk, eat cheese. For a lot of folks, dairy is difficult to absorb. It's the same thing with eating vitamins through different sources, things like nuts, things like whole grains. Those are also very difficult to absorb. Think about what you're eating and how you feel. I know the thought of keeping a food diary is overwhelming. Nobody wants to think about a food diary. But if you start to write down what you eat every day for just 5 days and how you feel, you will find what foods are good for you and what foods aren't so good for you, what foods make you feel great and what foods make you feel lousy. And then you think about it. Diets low in sodium, saturated fats, and sugars. This is the big deal. Our palates are so familiar with high salt and high sugar that when people take it away, it tastes awful to us. You can't, I know your doctor is going to tell you to, but you can't go from eating 5,000 milligrams of salt in a day, which is easy to do, all the way down to 2,000, which is where folks like you to be when you're over the age of 65 or 75. You're going to have to start to go slowly. If you go from 6 shakes of salt on your omelet to no shakes of salt on your omelet, it's going to taste terrible. You're going to have to slowly adjust your body so that your palate changes as your taste levels change. So think about it. You're not going to go from eating foods that are high in sugar to no sugar. Take it easy, take your time. Okay, Kath. Hold on a sec, folks. 4. Okay. It's normal to lose your appetite as you age. Does anyone in here have a lower appetite? Honest to gosh. Okay, so I have to be honest. Every morning I wake up and I dream of having a lower appetite, and it never happens. And in all honesty, if you guys are active, and you obviously all are, your appetites are going to continue to stay high. Be careful. Your appetites stay high, but your activity level isn't quite as high. Think about eating nutritionally dense foods. We spoke about it before. Avoid the foods that are high in fat. Avoid the foods that are high in salt. Avoid the foods that are high in sugar. So I love bacon as much as the next guy. But if you can choose, instead of eating bacon, to eat a turkey sausage instead, think about eating the turkey sausage instead. If you can think, now, I'm not sure if everyone in here has a cholesterol issue, but for those individuals who do have a cholesterol issue, egg whites can be mixed with your regular eggs. For the average person who doesn't have a cholesterol issue, you can eat an egg a day. If your doctor tells you to avoid that because of your cholesterol level, then you need to avoid it. But again, right now, it's nobody's appetite is falling at this point. But some folks, based on medications that they eat, their appetite may be affected. Some folks, based on a medical condition, appetite may be affected. As you become more sedentary, appetite can be affected. Here's another one. Stress level, anxiety level, depression, isolation. As you age, those are things that you deal with every day. Oh, chewing. Dentures. So individuals, correct. Things like nuts, seeds that are high in B vitamins, high in vitamin A, high in vitamin C, high in vitamin D, wonderful stuff. Also very difficult to chew and can be very difficult to absorb. Nuts, also tremendously difficult. Think about it. Think about the foods you're eating. Think about how long it takes to chew them. Dietary supplements. Is anyone in here a supplement believer? Big supplement folks? Okay, so I will tell you, first and foremost, anything that you put in your mouth, any type of medication, needs to be reported to your physician. Everything. Fat-soluble vitamins, water-soluble vitamins, and we'll talk about them in a second, all need to be reported to your physician. So important. And if you can't remember everything that you're on, write it all down. Carry it with you to the doctor. They need to know. Certain vitamins can affect medication, how medication is absorbed. It doesn't mean you can't take the vitamin. Sometimes it just means you need to change the timing of the vitamin. So you're going to need to think about that. It is much easier for the body to absorb vitamins and nutrients from foods versus from vitamins. In addition to that, vitamins are expensive. So if you've got to eat already, make the most of the food that you're eating instead of buying expensive supplements. Now, if your doctor says you're on metformin for diabetes, because of metformin, it's difficult for your body to absorb vitamin B12. You need to eat vitamin B12. You take it by a supplement if that's what's necessary. Same thing with something like vitamin D. If your physician tells you this is what you need to take, you take it. I will tell you that over the last 3 years with COVID, supplements have run a bit amok. Everybody was taking high dose vitamin C. Everybody was taking high dose zinc. Everybody, right? Everybody wanted to do it. Elderberry. We were doing anything to keep the dreaded COVID away. With taking high dose vitamins, there are side effects. Please think about what you're doing and how you're doing it. The more is better philosophy. You're sitting around with a group of people, you guys are eating lunch, and your friend says, I've been taking ginger. I've been taking cinnamon. I've been taking whatever. I've been taking 1 pill a day and I feel great. You go home, you pick up yourself some ginger, and you decide if 1 pill is good, then 2 pills must be better. So what I want you to think about is anything that you put in your mouth that comes as a medication, supplement, mineral, vitamin, discuss it with your physician, every single one of them. I love this one. I love this one. Wouldn't it be great if we could all maintain our weight? It gets harder for me every single day. What I want to say again is, please don't think of your health as necessarily a measure of your weight. You will move back and forth along a healthy continuum. Your weight will not change in 1 day. Your weight may not change in 2 days, 2 years. If you continue to move forward along a healthy path, then you are moving along a healthy continuum. Things that you need to think about. If you are overweight, the amount of pressure that puts on your joints. We used to say it all the time. If you were going to carry 2 10-pound weights in each hand up and down the stairs all day, how exhausted you would be. Wouldn't it be great if it was that easy to lose 20 pounds? It's not. If you continue to move along a healthy trajectory, talk to your doctor. Talk about what a healthy weight is. Talk about what a healthy weight loss goal may be. Make it realistic. Make it achievable. If you walk into the doctor's office and he tells you to lose 50 pounds and you're only able to lose 5, you feel like a failure. You should feel very positive about losing 5 pounds because it is incredibly difficult to do it. So try not to focus on health purely as weight. Think about health and exercise as an activity, as a process, as a continuum. Now, making good choices about the food that you put in your mouth makes sense. We've talked about it a million times. Are you going to eat 1 bagel with a load of cream cheese for 550 calories? You could have instead 3 omelets. Think about what you're doing and when you're doing it. If you're going to deviate from something that's healthy, make the most of it, do it in moderation, and really enjoy it. Am I missing anything on there, Kath? Yes, and that's what we said before. What is a healthy weight for you? What's a healthy weight loss for you? And if your doctor has a nutritionist that they work with, please take 5 minutes to talk to the nutritionist. I can guarantee the first thing they're going to tell you to do is keep a food diary. But keeping a food diary, again, when you reflect on everything that you've eaten in a day, what you've really needed, what you've really wanted, and how you felt afterward, it's going to be really interesting to see how you feel at the end of the day. Water. Yes, sir. Oh, I'm so sorry. The question was, my good friend Bob is diabetes type 2, and I'm sure that he, like everyone else, is seeing the television bombarded with medications like Ozempic, which really don't even talk about moderating your sugar as much as they talk about decreasing your weight. Is it a good idea? I always think it's a good idea as an active consumer and an active participant in your health to talk to your doctor about the things that you see on TV. Write them down. Is Ozempic a good idea for me? Isn't it a good idea for me? Ozempic, like many other things, have side effects associated with the good effects. I don't know enough about your health history to tell you one or the other, but by all means, talk to him about it. If your blood sugar is being maintained on oral medications, it's possible he's going to want to keep you on oral medications. But 150%, talk to your doctor about any questions you have. What do you think?
Yeah, no, I have a lady that takes insulin and she was given Trulicity, which is another drug similar to Ozempic. And her blood sugars are going down so much that we have to keep regulating it every week. She had tried other medications like Ozempic. So each person's body is different. And the other thing is getting the drug approved by your insurance because it's about $1,200 to $1,800 out of pocket. It's crazy amount, but it's because people are using it for diet reasons. And then the people that really need it, it's hard for them to get. But I'm watching it myself. She tried Wegovy, Ozempic, and now Trulicity. And Trulicity, she must have cut her insulin by 15 units a night already, which is tremendous.
Amazing.
Yeah, it's amazing. So it could be amazing for some people, but the other medications made her sick. So it really is trial and error, and you have to see a really good endocrinologist to. That's what I'm saying.
true.
That's exactly why people can't get it. But if you do you have a regular primary care as well? Yeah. So I would try through that route and see, if your regular Medicare insurance would cover it. Well, no, I mean, her copay is only 37, so it depends on the insurance and how the doctor rates it. But I've had lots of people get denied outright. And then a lot of people get it. And then sometimes they feel sick. I have a girlfriend that's a borderline diabetic and it made her feel really sick. And now she's on a different medication and she feels great. She's on the Wegovy instead of the Ozempic. The Ozempic was making her really sick. So everybody's different. Their bodies are different. And it's all a matter of what other medications you're taking. If you're taking Metformin, if you're taking Lantus, if you're. Yeah.
Do you see an endocrinologist? And you
Yeah.
see an endocrinologist at the VA?
Yeah. Yeah. Ozempic. Yeah.
And there are other oral medications.
There's other oral
Yeah, there are other oral
medications too.
throughout the VA.
Okay.
So the only other thing I was going to say is the get healthy quick mentality that's occurring right now with things like Ozempic. Where you'll see things online all the time. I haven't changed my diet at all. And all of a sudden I'm losing 5, 10, and 15 pounds is the wrong mentality. I wish it was easy to get healthy or to get thin quickly. It's not. You need to change behaviors. You need to change activities. You need to change a mindset. There is no get healthy quick. You have to think, you have to change behaviors. Water, huge. Water is probably the single most important thing that we should do and we don't do. Many of us, I'm at risk as much as anyone else. For many folks, the reason we do or do not choose a lot of water is variable. For some adults, they don't like to drink a lot of water because it means they need to go to the bathroom more frequently, especially with individuals at night who may be taking medication at night for sleeping. There's a risk of falls. Drinking water is an imperative part of the day. If you are on a diuretic, if you're on medications that are water depleting, coffee used to be the big faux pas dehydrator. We know now that coffee doesn't cause quite as much dehydration, but coffee should never be considered a substitute for water. So water, very important. Making it creative intakes for water, adding lemon, drinking seltzer. But the simple truth is there is no substitute for drinking 7 to 8 glasses of water a day.
How many of you drank that 7 to 8
Honestly, nobody is. So, and what you used to do, yeah, what we used to do is literally put it up. So we talk about it. It's about 2 of these, right? Yeah, right? 8 ounces of water is about 2 of these a day. And I tell myself every day I'm going to do it. In fact, this year's New Year's resolution is 64 ounces of water. It's not easy. What it means is going to the bathroom more frequently, getting up more frequently at night, but find a way to balance. If you can get your water in before 7 o'clock at night and you go to sleep at 10 o'clock at night, do it. Be aware. Talk to your physician. If you're having trouble waking up at night and working to get your water intake, have open and honest dialogues with your doctor. Dehydration. Dehydration leads to urinary tract infections, certainly more so for women than for men. Feelings of fatigue, difficulty with how you metabolize your medications, how you feel after your medications. Water is key.
And dehydration is usually the #1 cause of people going into the hospital in the elderly. People don't realize it. I mean, for our clients, I always encourage, I get little bottles of water when they're sitting watching TV. Sometimes it's just a matter of they don't want to get the glass, pour the water. So if you put little bottles of water in your refrigerator, and when you're watching the news before dinner, your goal is that you have to drink one of those. In the morning before you have breakfast, when you first get up, you have to drink another one. If you do that routinely and get 3 or 4 of those bottles in, you'll be surprised the difference in how you feel. But it's getting into the routine of doing it. New year, new practice. Everybody drink a lot of water.
There you go.
And don't drink a lot of juice. Everybody thinks that juice is okay. Juice is high in sodium, it's high in sugar. You know, 1 glass of juice a day or maybe 2 max, but really you need the water. And you could buy the little crystal, what is it called? Crystal Light, like the flavors to put in the water. So if people just don't like the taste of plain water, there's no sugar or calories. It just flavors the water. So there's lemon, lime, strawberry, kiwi, and you just put a little drop in. And people do better when they drink that kind of water. Or buy seltzer.
Big seltzer believer.
Seltzer believer too. Buy seltzer water, flavored seltzer water.
So we're going to move past slide 8 because I think we've hit a lot of those topics. Myth 9, coffee. I love it. I live for it. I wake up in the morning and the first thing I think about before I kiss my husband good morning is, where is my cup of coffee? Now, years ago, coffee was considered quite the devil. And we found now the coffee has a tremendous amount of pros, loaded with antioxidants, increases mind cognition, mood, and especially for folks when you're living alone. If you're living alone, that little get me up and get you going is a wonderful thing. Coffee is good stuff. However, can coffee raise your blood pressure? If you drink enough coffee in a day, of course it can raise your blood pressure. Can it affect your heart rate? If you drink enough coffee, yes, it can increase your heart rate. Be aware of the medications that you're on. Talk to your doctor. Do you drink 4 or 5 cups of coffee a day? If you do, let your doctor know that you drink 4 or 5 cups of coffee a day. Decaf coffee. Decaf coffee sounds like a great thing. It's loaded with chemicals. Organic or naturally decaffeinated coffees are more expensive, but definitely worth it. Think about it. Investigate it. Coffee can be your friend, but should never be considered a substitute for water. So that's the only thing that I wanted to say about coffee.
Lower your risk of diabetes, yes?
So coffee, give or take, a mug of coffee has about 200 milligrams of caffeine. Most research states that you really shouldn't have more than about 400 milligrams of caffeine, 500 milligrams of caffeine in a day, especially for a senior. Now, you can either drink 4 8-ounce cups, 2 mugs, but tea usually only has about 100 milligrams. Now, matcha teas, the black oolong teas, and the green teas are higher in caffeine. Usually, any tea that you see, flip her over on the back, and we're actually going to talk about it when we get to the next slide. Becoming an active participant in your health is going to start meaning reading the backs of your labels. And one of those things, you can flip any box of tea over, and you'll see exactly how many milligrams of caffeine you need. About 400 to 500 milligrams of caffeine in a day. If you're a big chocolate eater, chocolate's loaded with caffeine too. Be careful. Caffeines can be hidden in a lot of sodas. If anybody in here is a soda drinker, please be careful. I know. I'm telling you, as healthy as I look, I've got all the bad stuff. I love fast food. I love soda. Moderation, moderation, moderation. Oh, skipping a meal. So those individuals who think skipping a meal is a fantastic way for you to lose weight, not necessarily. Definitely smaller meals per day, especially as we age. You digest your food faster, you feel less bloated, you'll feel less overwhelmed and fatigued. Eating smaller meals makes sense. A lot of folks got into the nutritional shakes, the supplement shakes. They're easy. If you live alone, you don't have to make your food as often. I will tell you that supplement shakes are meant to be supplements. They're not necessarily meant to be a substitute for a meal. They're meant to supplement. So that means you still eat either 6 small meals or 3 large meals a day. But if for your snacks, you choose to use a shake, use a shake. If you have a diabetic history, watch the sugar content. If you have a bowel system that's a little sensitive to foods that are high in protein, sometimes supplements can cause some GI upset and some diarrhea. Find a supplement that works for you, but I will tell you, those foods and those supplements that are sitting on the shelf, prepackaged, and have been there for a long time have good and bad in them. So think about it. I always tell people that yes, and I actually like the powdered formulas where you have to add your own milk. Then there's less preservatives in them. So think about it. You can kind of create a shake that works for you. Again, talk to your doctor, talk to their nutritionist, get a plan that works for you.
And also people take their supplements with their meals. They might get a can of Ensure and drink that as their drink, as they're eating their sandwich or their salad or whatever they're eating for lunch. The supplement should be done in between because you really want those true calories from your meals, not from a supplement. And maybe only take 1 supplement a day instead of 2. Because I find a lot of, that's what my clients do. They're like, oh, I drank a whole supplement with my lunch instead of in between my breakfast and lunch. Okay. Yeah. Great.
We're going to go straight to myth 12 there. So we're going to go past myth 11 because I feel like we said it. There they are, those shakes, eating out. So for those individuals who live by themselves, things that I will tell you is it is easy to sit in front of a television and eat your meal. You don't feel as alone. You feel like you've got someone to talk to. Make the most of your meal. Your meal should be an event for you. Before you sit down on the television, sit down at the table, set the table, light a candle, put on some music. Just make sure that when you're eating, you're making the most out of that eating session. That way, you'll eat enough. You can stop when you feel full. You'll know that you're chewing adequately. You're either drinking a glass of wine, and we'll talk about alcohol consumption too, drinking a glass of wine, drinking a glass of water. Take your time, enjoy your meal, eat your meal. When you eat out, it tastes delicious because it is loaded with fats. Fat tastes great. It's loaded with sodium. Sodium tastes great. Think about it. Everything in moderation. It's also expensive. So there are, I don't know if any of you are interested in the deliver nutrients foods from home, but you still would have to make that yourself. But for those of you who think about eating out, please think about limiting it to maybe once or twice a week, just based on the expense, high fat content, high sodium content. Anything?
We also have a place, if anybody's interested, that makes homemade meals.
Oh, yes.
And it's called Chef for Seniors. They send you a menu. They make the meal. She prepares everything. She labels it and you just have to microwave it, but it's like you cook it in your kitchen. The food's delicious. And if you're going to eat prepared meals, that's the way to do it. Please don't get Stouffer's and all those other.
Yes, anything that is in a package, on a shelf, or in a can is loaded with sodium. We'll talk about that in one sec. Chefs for Seniors. And you know what? We can share that information with you and maybe you can send it out. So Chefs for Seniors seems like it's going to be ridiculous expensive. Absolutely is not. And you can tailor it to your needs. You can do 1 meal.
Yeah.
You can do 3 meals. Wonderful. And the diet and the menu, you get to choose the foods that you like. She also takes into consideration your medical needs.
And she caters it to diabetes or hypertension. I have somebody that became a type 1 diabetic from a cancer that he had. And she went through great lengths to get everything perfect. So his sugars are all within level. And now she tailors the meals every week and delivers it for him. So she's amazing.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, could you just take a moment and say what area you operate in? Our guys are from all over.
We are from all over.
Okay.
So yes, in fact, I can't imagine if there's anyone here who is involved in an area that we touch. I'm all the way up in Bergen. Kathy's down here. Yeah, so I cover Bergen, Essex, Hudson.
Union, Morris, Somerset. Okay.
Yes,
Yeah, we're
we gotcha.
Wait, I forgot to tell you, we opened our business in Florida last year, so we cover Palm Beach and Broward counties. We had some snowbirds that could not find geriatric care managers, that were like us and did the amount of things that we do for them. So we went down there. So we have a full staff in, Palm Beach and Broward counties, and I am sometimes down there helping out. So, but we have social workers, nurses, and marketing team in Florida now as well. Any snowbirds? Not here. Yeah.
Makes you tough. Don't leave.
Snowbirds are
They're already gone. Good. Stay here, all you snowbirds. So before I go, and I'm sorry the people on Zoom can't see it. The last thing I'm going to say before I leave, I know nobody thinks about looking at the back of their nutrition labels. Please, please, please look at the back of your nutrition labels. So for folks who can't see, this is my favorite thing in the United, this is the favorite thing. This is milk, right? Here we go. Two different kinds of milk. Traditional milk, right? This is whole milk. Fairlife milk. When you start to look at your packages, things that you will realize are Fairlife milk, twice the protein, half the carbohydrates, same amount of calories, wonderful stuff. Lactose intolerant folks, this is lactose free. Seems a little bit more expensive, but it actually has a longer shelf life. So for folks who may have an issue with diabetes and still want to make sure they're getting their calcium, you can drink twice as much of this, get twice the protein, half the carbohydrates, start to turn your labels over. This is my favorite thing. Can of bumblebee tuna. Box of macaroni and cheese. Which one of these two things do you suppose has the highest amount of sodium? Everybody assumes that anything that's in a can is always going to be the highest in sodium. Not true. This can of tuna per serving is about 200 to 300 milligrams of sodium. This per serving is about 600 milligrams of sodium. So just because it looks better, because it's not in a can, and because you add your own milk and you add your own butter, doesn't mean that it is better. So the last thing that I wanted to say before I left is health is a continuum. Remember, nobody wakes up one day and is healthy. Praise the things that you do well. Don't beat yourself up for the things that you don't do well. You will move across the continuum. Praise yourself when you move forward, reacclimate when you move backward. Talk to your physician. Most important part of your day. Talk to a nutritionist. Stay active. Don't think about exercise. Think about activity. Do it with someone else. It will keep you moving. Anything else? So, yes.
Thank you so very, very much. You're inspirational. Now, don't run away. If we have any questions from the audience here, please come up here and you'll be looking for the people on Zoom who want to ask questions, right? And when you answer questions,
Yeah.
please from here,
I'm going away.
so you can be seen by Zoom.
Oh, okay. I'm back.
Now, you're the ones we're interested in, not us.
So
Okay.
to say goodbye.
Yeah. Eileen has to say goodbye.
Yes, so folks, I'm so sorry. Most of my clients are up in Bergen, so I'm hightailing it up to Midland Park. It's been such a pleasure. We will follow up on the information about meals or chefs for seniors,
Yeah.
which is fantastic. Such a pleasure.
Okay. Now you're stuck with me.
And
Oh,
come on
okay.
over here and get seen.
I don't step on the thing. I have two questions. One is talking about fast food. And is there any difference between getting a hamburger at McDonald's or Subway or Smash Burger or a regular restaurant? Is there the same thing?
Basically.
Okay.
I mean, the sodium content, I mean, now the burgers, like even Smash Burger and Burger King, they write the calories up there, but they don't write the sodium content. But I would say going to Prestige Diner is probably healthier than going to Burger King. So
And one more question. What's not covered on this thing is memory when you get older. And on television, we get these bombarded by these supplements that come from starfish eggs or something crazy. That's supposed to, make you remember everything in the world. Is there anything to any of this?
The truth is, everybody would be taking it if it really worked. Some stuff is better than others. There is prescription medication for the start of memory that a lot of primary care physicians are recommending it now. Aricept, Namenda. So if you could do that, there's patches. I would never take a memory supplement without telling your doctor, because there is high content of a lot of vitamins and minerals in there that could interfere with your regular medications that you're taking. So just like Eileen was saying throughout this whole lecture, you never take anything without knowing. Like I know somebody that was taking fish oil. They said, oh, fish oil is supposed to be so good for you, but it was actually raising her cholesterol. And then the doctor couldn't figure out why all of a sudden her cholesterol, because she was never telling anybody she was taking the fish oil. But in combination with her other medications, it was really bad for her. And her cholesterol was like sky high, but it was also her body. So, oh, you went there. There we go. Okay, he's done. Hi.
I've got a question about sodium. If you look on the grocery shelf, the V8 juice,
Very, very high in sodium.
yes,
Very
but they have
high.
a low sodium one. But how did they do that? They take out half the sodium and they put in potassium chloride. Now, I want to know, is that good for you or is that dangerous? And also, where do I find a doctor who will discuss nutrition?
Oh, none of your doctors, yeah. Does anybody ever hear of geriatric, called geriatric assessment centers? So there's one out of Morristown. It's called the Geriatric Assessment Center. There's about 5 or 6 doctors in there, and they look at the whole person. They have a social worker, they have a nutritionist. They also could take care of you when you're sick. They used to go to the hospital, but now they have more hospitalists. But those are the type of doctors. It's not like the doctor that you go to when you have a cold or something, at a Summit Health. If people live in Lantern Hill, there's 2 doctors there that are in Lantern Hill that are part of a geriatric assessment center as well. And it's called your Medicare visit, where they should be giving you a more comprehensive visit, looking at the whole person and not just your ailment.
Do they look at your prescription drugs?
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
Because that's a big part of it.
Yeah, and everybody should be using the same pharmacist for any specialist that you go to and your regular doctor. Because like, say your heart doctor doesn't necessarily your heart doctor is Summit Health, but your primary care is Atlantic. Those files don't merge until you get to a pharmacy. And that's when the pharmacy should really be a good pharmacist that's aware of this drug can interact with this. It just happened with my dad. He has a Summit Health doctor and an Atlantic doctor, and one of the medications that he was going to take, they said was not a good combination. It's because the right hand doesn't talk to the left hand that much. So very, very important. You use the same pharmacy for everything. And if you can stick within the same health system, it's ideal. But sometimes your specialist, you have to go outside of your health system. And geriatric assessment centers are wonderful. So either the one in Morristown or there's some geriatric doctors out of Summit.
Thank you.
Yep.
Hi, I once had a friend who went out of their way to buy flavored seltzer for me. And she said, I says, well, I don't drink flavored seltzer because of all the chemicals in it. And she says, yeah, but it says natural lemon. And so which I said, if there's any lemon in the ingredient, I will drink it. And of course, it had about 12 different chemicals.
Yeah.
Now, my question is, I always try to buy things that don't have 12 different chemicals, hopefully none. What's your thoughts on that?
We always say it's best, like if you're going to, first, it's best to drink water. then it's best to drink plain seltzer, but people aren't going to get up and put the lemon in it or put the lime in it. So if you're drinking 1 can of seltzer a day, the fluid's great for you and a little bit of chemicals versus drinking not at all. So you have to weigh it out. I wouldn't want you to drink 6 cans of seltzer a day with chemicals in it. But people drink Diet Coke. Are they drinking 1 or 5? You know, and Diet Coke really, it's a stimulant too, or Diet, you know, Pepsi or whatever, or Pepsi's worse because it has all the sugar in it, but they also have chemicals in it. So you have to do everything in moderation. So you have to say, is it better to do nothing or to have a little bit of lemon lime chemical, or the Crystal Light? That's not that bad. It does it 0 calories, 0 sugar. I mean, it is all, but you put 1 little squirt in and it tastes a lot better. So.
Do we have anything from the Zoom audience? Okay.
All right.
I have a question about diets. I recently retired and I was overweight, and I started Weight Watchers, and I found it to be very effective. But if you look at all the different diets that are out there, they're not the same. They could be contradictory. They'll criticize the other one. So that's question number one. Question number two, as we see over time, we've been told that foods that were bad for us earlier could be good for us or better for us, like coffee. Butter went out of style, margarine came in style. So it looks like we're on a continuum of what the good and bad foods are.
That's why we always say, actually, Weight Watchers is truly a good diet because it gives you some, if you really want a slice of pizza, you can, sorry.
I'm sorry, yeah.
Oh, yep. You know, Weight Watchers is a good diet because it's all natural food that you're buying and making yourself. So it's teaching you good eating habits. You can go on Nutrisystem, you can go on the bars, the shakes, all that stuff. But when you get off of it, you're back to square one where you really haven't learned how to eat. So some people do great with Weight Watchers, and some people, you know, just don't lose anything because they feel like they're eating more. They're the people that skip meals, like me. Like, we had a great breakfast today because we went out together before. I won't eat again until I get home from work, which will probably be 7 or 8 o'clock tonight. So yeah, it's bad. And all of us do the same thing. So if we would just learn to like bring something in our car, Weight Watchers is so much better. But it's easier for us to be on a diet where we grab the Atkins bars or the shakes and eat it along the way, but you never lose any weight.
Just one additional question. This guy, I think I have his name right, Dr. Kunder, famous guys all over the internet. And, you know, he's saying where everybody says brown rice is better than white rice, you know, whole wheat is better than non-whole wheat bread. And he says that's all wrong.
They changed it, yeah.
So I mean, who's, as a layperson, how
I
do you?
think everything in moderation. I think that if you eat a little bit of everything, if you really want a white baked potato, have it. If you really want a grilled cheese on white bread, have it. I mean, people say whole wheat's better, but who knows? In 2 years, they're going to say that it's not. And science is always changing. People said not to eat any carbs. Now people are saying you need carbs. I mean, so many people are on no carb diets, no sugar, no carbs, but it's not healthy. And people are getting sick. Their gallbladders, they were having kidney issues. So you're doing one thing good and you're hurting another. I mean, I had a lot of people that have had kidney problems that were on like the no sugar, no carb, like the keto diets. They have a lot of side effects, a lot. So you have to be careful.
Thank you.
Yep.
What do you say to the person who takes 6 cans of beer a day to keep up their hydration?
More power to you. Moderation, moderation. Good luck if he's still standing every day, right? But if he's only drinking 6 instead of 12, right?
I have a quick question. I did just this is minutia, but all of the packages in the stores show me the percentage of minimum recommended daily requirement of of sodium and other things. And you're talking about milligrams. I guess if I looked harder on the package, I could find milligrams, but how do you feel about this method of calibrating those things in terms of recommended daily requirement? I mean, that seems like a pretty arbitrary thing because somebody has to set what those are.
And we rely
And it
on your
depends on
doctor,
body
yes,
weight
on
and
your body weight, on
Yeah,
your,
yeah,
your
so-
size, on your health conditions. So you're absolutely right in saying that, because actually a doctor or a nutritionist should be saying, you need 400 milligrams of sodium and you need 6, because your blood pressure goes low. And instead of going on Midodrine, a medication, maybe taking that extra sodium will bring your blood pressure up to 100. We've done that for clients, but we're with them all the time. Like when you're our geriatric care management, Eileen's going actually up right now to talk to an assisted living because the lady keeps dropping her blood pressure, but they're not taking her off her blood pressure medicine. But they need to take her off her blood pressure medicine and increase her sodium, but they're not paying attention to her diet. So you have to look at the whole picture of everything that you're on. So I think that during your Medicare visit is the time to bring it up to your doctor or ask if they have a nutrition program. There's an endocrinologist that I go to down at Summit Health, and she's like, now we have a nutritionist. So do you want to see the nutritionist? They're giving more options these days because they're realizing people are more health conscious, but they don't really know what they're conscious about. They don't have enough information. So, all right, thanks.
I'd like to thank our speaker and her partner for a wonderful talk and Q&A. Bob?
Thank you.
Here, come to the microphone.
Until the job was done. What a wonderful group of people. We'll come back anytime. Oh, thank you. Thank you
This
so
is
much.
yours. This is in the history of the old guard of Summit, New Jersey goes back to the 30s when Summit was known as the orchid capital of the world or the United States or New Jersey. We also wanted to give you the a certificate pointing out the I know, Pete, you did this right,
Oh, thank you.
of appreciation for Kathleen.
Oh, thank you so
And
much.
we appreciate all the good information you've given us.
Thank you. Thank you. Anytime.
Oh.